there. Welcome back to Raising Awesome. We're here today to talk about the one thing that helps determine your child's happiness. I'm here today with my co-host, Angela. She is also an RDI CIT, which is a consultant, much like a life coach for parents of kids on the spectrum. So welcome, Angela.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My son is autistic, and so I have a bit of background in this. And yeah,
We'll just get into it.
let's do it.
We'll just start talking about it. So today we're talking about with the one thing that equals happiness. So really, we're just going to kind of reverse engineer that and be, well, what is the one thing that equals not happiness? And I think in our autism world, which we're both parents in, a lot of it is overwhelms, right?
Mhm.
So how do we look at overwhelms and how do we help address those and where does it come from? And yeah.
So working with parents, what I hear often enough is parents will come in saying, their kids are fine one moment, and then the next moment, all of a sudden, they just are in a complete overwhelm, completely have lost it, and they don't know why, what's happened. And so we work together to try to figure out what's causing these overwhelms. And 9 out of 10 times, it's because the child has had an experience previous that has got them to feel this way. We like to call it the memory bank experience.
Memory bank experience. Yeah. That's what we're here to talk about today.
Yes.
Memory bank and how the memory bank helps us create those kind of positive deposits, which then equals happiness. So
yeah,
let's get into that. So positive memory bank. Let's do a couple of examples, a couple stories, if you will. Do you want to walk us through a couple of examples?
So we have a child named Riley.
Sure.
And we have a child named Lily. So both kids, they're siblings. They live in the same house, same parent. They, essentially have very similar experiences throughout the day. And maybe one morning, Riley wakes up, comes into the kitchen, and he sees mom. He smells mom making breakfast. He hears maybe the cartoons on the TV. And he has a really joyful, positive experience of this. Now, Lily, she wakes up, she comes into the kitchen, and she might have a different experience. She might feel like she maybe overheard mom and dad arguing last night in the kitchen. Maybe the kitchen is where they try new foods, and so that is something that she feels quite nervous about or anxious about. And now, so she has this bit of a negative anxiety-ridden kind of experience. And so when she comes in the morning and she comes in and she may now feel triggered. She might now feel overwhelmed because maybe mom's making a new breakfast that she hasn't tried before, and that's anxiety-ridden. And so now she may feel a bit more anxious, which may lead to an overwhelm.
So what I'm hearing is same experience, right? Going downstairs, seeing, cartoons on, mom making breakfast, same experience, just different emotional reactions.
Right.
So why do we think that would happen? Why would there be two different reactions to the exact same experience?
Well, they're lived in experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned, they have these positive experiences.
Yeah.
So every day, a parent has the ability to help their child make these positive, joyful, encouraging experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't be with our child every moment of every day.
What?
So there's going to be times where there's negative experiences, where there's sad, fear. Yeah. But what we as parents can do is we can encourage these small pockets of positive experiences wherever we can.
Right.
And so thinking of it as like a bank, like a piggy bank, or where we deposit all of these experiences, good, bad, joyful, sad, all the emotions. It's kind of like Inside Out, the Inside Out movie where you have the different colors of orbs, and those all represent the different memories, the different experiences. So we collect all these experiences together. And what happens is when we experience anything at all, our brain, our amygdala, also known as our guard dog or security guard, whatever you want to call it. It is in charge of our fight, flight, freeze. It's what makes us decide if this is something I should be fearful of,
Yeah.
or is this okay? Is this safe?
Yeah.
And what can happen is we experience something. Our amygdala now searches our hippocampus, which is our memory bank,
Mhm.
and it decides, is this something that I should be scared of? I've had a previous experience with this, and it made me feel very scared, very anxious, very upset, and therefore I have now attached a sad or negative attachment to this memory.
So then for Riley, our kiddo in the story
Mhm.
here, he comes downstairs and he's seeing mom cooking, is joyful, mom's probably humming, cartoons are on, smells the eggs, pop the toast, everything's good, and he's like, it's going to be a good day.
He's now had
He's good.
a happy, joyful, positive experience.
Right. So now next time he's going to continue to be able to go downstairs and make the toast and hear the eggs and mom's humming and everything's good. But for Lily,
Right.
Lily's experience is a little bit different. I mean, the kitchen was a little scary last night, and mom encourages trying really scary foods all the time. And it's like, what's mom making? What's going to happen in the kitchen today? And
Right.
so that experience that was lived, it seems like it's coming out in a different emotional response. Kind of like that statement we always talk about is you don't remember what people say, but you remember the way that they made you feel.
Exactly. We
Same.
attach those emotions to our memories.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. So for us as parents, we're kind of able to direct and guide these kiddos to, hey, is this a scary place? Is this a scary experience? Is it a neutral experience? Is it a happy experience?
Right.
Yeah. And do we have what would you say is our number one way that we can make it a happy experience when our kiddos are already overwhelmed? So say we're a parent. We want to kind of reverse this for a second. Say we're a parent of Lily, and Lily comes downstairs and Lily is starting to feel overwhelmed because we as parents have already kind of contributed to this possibly negative experience that she's had in the past. And we want to try and help co-regulate or help guide Lily to now coming downstairs for a typical morning and a typical breakfast as not scary anymore. What would we do?
Well, we can work with them together. We
Yeah.
can come together with them, and we can help them through these emotions. And we as parents can start identifying. So the biggest thing as a parent, what you can do is be curious and really start to observe how your child is reacting in situations. Are they having that amygdala-driven fight, flight, freeze response? Or are they maybe a little more carefree like Riley, and he's maybe a little, more joyful, having these joyful moments. So it's really important to just step back and observe your child and see how are they reacting? What is it that I can do as a parent?
Mm-hmm.
So as a parent, you can see say you're leaving for the day. So Riley's getting ready for school, and you say, okay, I see that we have to leave in 5 minutes. I'm putting my shoes on now. So you're now encouraging him to have this moment of autonomy and allowing him to put on his shoes for himself and make the decision. That's going to be more of a neutral or a positive experience versus saying, hey, we got to go. Put your shoes on now.
Yeah, that sternness or definitiveness from a parent can come off as a demand to a child on the spectrum. And, as we talk about often, these are, we call them demands, but they're just everyday requests from a parent. Hey, let's get your shoes on. We got to go to school. That can come off as a demand, right? And so for a kiddo on the spectrum, what we talk about a lot is allowing them the autonomy to choose when to put the shoes on, which of course is hard. It takes practice and it takes years of a guiding relationship to get to a point where you can spark curiosity with your child, and then your child just goes ahead and puts their shoes on. Right. But you want to spark it, like you said. One of the tips is, hey, I'm going to put my shoes on. So you sparked that curiosity for the child to then go put their shoes on without giving or placing a demand on them. And what happens with that, right, like we talk about, is then it removes kind of anxiety because they know the future because they're in control, which means a negative or positive memory bank experience, which is great.
Exactly. So bringing
Okay.
that back to the positive or negative
Yeah.
memory bank experiences, the more you do these things, the more positive memory bank experiences they're now feeling. So bringing it back to the Inside Out movie, you know, when she has all these multiple different colored orbs.
Yeah.
And
Oh, her poor brain.
well, and that's exactly what our brains do. So the
Yeah.
next time we experience something, our brain naturally wants to make these shortcut connections.
Yeah.
So it's going to go into the experience and go, okay, my brain tells me, you know, there's a lot of blue orbs here.
Yeah.
This means that this is something I should be sad about.
Right.
Or maybe it's orange, a lot of orange and red. This is something that has caused a lot of anger and anxiety. So therefore, my amygdala is now heightened, and now I am now fearful.
And to bring it back to that movie, which is such a good movie, and if you haven't seen it, super encourage you to see it with your kids. But it's almost like, and is it Riley in the movie too?
Yeah.
Okay, good analogy. Okay, so for Riley, she has like this control panel, and all of the different emotions are like trying to overtake the brain to help Riley make a decision, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. We're talking about inside of our kiddos' brains, they have a lot of emotions fighting over the control panel to say, what do I do and how do I react? And the cool thing is as a parent, we can guide those little emotions in the control panel of the brain, saying, what do I do next?
Yeah.
We can guide them through it, and it really is sometimes as simple as just slowing down and being regulated ourselves. And how you really hack those positive memory banks is anytime they do something successfully or they master something, even if it's tiny, is just really spotlight how cool that is.
Exactly.
Because I think we were reading a stat earlier that said something like, I have to go research it again, and I'll put the data in the comments here, but I think it's something like 2.5% more likelihood of absorbing a positive memory than a neutral or a negative memory, which is powerful. So that really means that in all the hundreds of interactions we have with our kids a day, if we could focus on the happy ones, we could focus on spotlighting them. And by spotlighting, I mean being proud and saying that out loud and having them hear that, that stays with them 2.5 times more likely to stick in their memory than it is to do something neutral or negative. And how cool and empowering is that? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's very accurate. There's also this statistic that it was with autistic kids, 40%, their amygdalas are 40% more likely to be activated in situations.
Right.
So as parents, that's something very important to realize, that while we might feel it's a small little hiccup, that why are they getting so emotional or so upset over such a tiny thing?
Yeah.
Their amygdala is now 40% more likely to be activated and now is feeling that fight, flight, or freeze response.
Yeah, we need a lot of compassion for our little.
Exactly. Coming into any situation with compassion, curiosity, and just really taking the time to spend with your child to understand them, what it is, observe them, how are they reacting. And as parents, we hold a lot of power.
Yeah.
And we can be what their child needs in this moment.
Can I share something really cool before we get into like some takeaway points here?
Of course.
So my kiddos are older, much older. And just a little story about when they were teens, and they're not on the spectrum. So this works for all kiddos, right? And not these two, my two olders. And, you know, they were raised in a home that wasn't exactly the greatest. Right. You know, dad sadly drank beer every night, and you never knew if he was going to be the Hulk or super happy. And a lot of the things that he would talk about all the time was really negative. So once we were able to decide as a family that we were going to move on without him, we got our own place. Yeah. Me and the boys. And they were teenagers at the time. They were later teens. And I remember we got this place, and I'm like, how do we do this switch? How do we like jump into this new life? Because as we would go back to that quote that people remember, you know, they don't remember what you say, but they remember the way they make them feel. Yeah. They're continuously anxious, and they're continuously experiencing fight, flight, or freeze. And I'm like, okay, I'm in control of this now, Steph. You got this. And we walked into the home, our new house, and it just has this little foyer before you go up the stairs to the home. And we walk in for the first time, and we stand there together, and we talk about how this home, there's no yelling. Yeah. No yelling allowed. And it's difficult. I mean, sometimes there was sometimes obviously where like the boys wanted to spark a little something, or maybe even I sparked a little something, but we held ourselves accountable. We remembered that this is a family value. It is a standard. It is who we are now. It is part of our identity, and this is our home. And I mean, it took maybe a year or two before their anxieties went down and we all felt safe together. But what a beautiful journey that was. And I mean, I think they could. We talk about it often. We talk about it often, how we changed our world. We went into a new home. We had these rules for each other, and it just felt safe. And many times I'll remind them as they get older and they've had these experiences as a kid that, home is where your safe person is. Yeah. And
what I love about that is that you turned a negative experience and over time, you provided them that safety and that predictability and that love and security, and that negative has now turned into a positive.
I mean, they deserved it the whole time. They deserved a great life the whole time. But I think us as parents, I don't want to say parents make mistakes as we raise our kids. Parents do exactly what they know how to do in that moment. And that's why we're here, because I didn't know what I didn't know, or I wasn't inspired, or I wasn't focused enough back then. I was working a lot and quite selfish. I wasn't thinking of my children enough. And once you know, and when you know, it's so profoundly different. And I as Steph have the ability to affect my children for the rest of their life. And that's a serious, cool, empowering thing to do.
It is such an empowering thing. Yeah. I know for myself, when we went through the RDI process as a parent, understanding the memory bank, it was a little hard at first for me to understand quite what exactly this means. But now I can't even count how many times a day it is always in my brain where I'm thinking, okay, I have the ability to react in a way that will set the foundation for my child as he continues to grow. Yeah. And it is so empowering for me. Sometimes, I want to react. I'm human. I have emotions. I get frustrated. But knowing that I have the power to say, okay, yes, I know it was an accident. He didn't really mean to do this. But I can react in a way that allows him to feel secure, allows him to feel safe, validated. Yeah. And now I know he's going to associate a positive feeling to that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that will continue throughout his life. And what better gift can you give?
And as we always say, happy adults start in childhood.
Exactly.
And it happens because us as parents, we care enough to take these simple hacks. We have grace enough on ourselves to slow it down and let it be part of our characters, which I love. And so to move to the red car theory, is let's move into that. So the red car theory we want to talk about in each episode, which is really, I mean, if you heard it before, it's if someone says, hey, I want you to count how many red cars you see today, you're going to see a lot of red cars.
Exactly.
Okay. So our red car here. So what we want is some kind of way of saying, hey, take a peeker for this at home tonight.
Yes.
So take a peeker at this at home tonight or tomorrow or whenever, and look for your red car. And your red car is, how do you think your children's reactions are based off of prior experiences? Right. So watch when you see that they're having any form of anxiety, because children on the spectrum experience 40% of children on the spectrum experience anxiety. And so watch out for it and ask yourself if you can think about what might be in their memory bank that caused that.
Exactly.
Just kind of get to their thought process for a second. You may or may not know. It could be something that happened not even around you, or it could just be something simple that they've never been able to share before. But that's your red car.
Yeah, lead with curiosity and just kind of focus on those things, because that's a great way of doing it. What immediately came to my mind when you said that was food related. If your child is wanting to discourage eating something, reflect back. Did they have a moment? And again, you might not be able to control that. We can't control every blueberry that goes into their mouth. But if that is the reason, we can work with that. And so I like that, the red car theory. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. And so then a takeaway to add on to your blueberry, because we talked about this last week and it was a really cool conversation we had. So to bring parents into it. So the takeaway would be, even if you don't want to do blueberries, but let's use the blueberries. So blueberries, we were talking about how some kiddos can't have blueberries anymore because they've tried one blueberry and one blueberry was maybe too soft. Usually when you have like the fresh blueberries, it's crisp and juicy and crunchy to a little extent. And then you can have one that maybe got a little too soft and was a little too sour. And so now kiddos on the spectrum that need extreme predictability will no longer have blueberries. And you see these parents in these TikTok videos, and they're doing amazing. Like, I'm so proud of them. And they're going through and they're picking out the blueberries that are bad for their child before they give them blueberries. And while I love the effort, like A+ for effort, 100%, and I love their love, what we want to try and do here is help kids do hard things. And we want to still expose them to blueberries, even though the blueberries, might be sour and soft. It's about letting our children experience life as uncomfortable as life is, but at the same time being their safe person to say, okay, you experienced this sour, soft blueberry. Here's how we're going to get through it together. And here's how we're going to rewire our experiences to have neutral or positive ones, to be able to now have blueberries without having to have someone pick out the bad ones.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you take it home, your actions, so you have your red car, look for those moments, you have your takeaways. I want you to just try one thing to kind of help push your child to master something that they might not have typically mastered, and just sit with them. Just
lead with curiosity.
Stay calm.
Be observant.
Yeah. And
stay calm and regulated. Yes.
And we have a podcast about co-regulation.
Yes.
And co-regulation is so important to how to create the neutral and positive memory-based experiences. So I'm going to encourage everyone who's listening here, if you want to learn a little bit more, definitely jump onto the next podcast on co-regulation and learn how we can do so. So yeah, our mission here is to help families create 1 million positive memory-based experiences. So please look in the comments on how you can help us tally up that number and get to that bold number.
It's a bold number.
It's a bold number. Remember that happy adults start in childhood. And stay awesome. Thanks for being here, Angela. Bye.